Hello, everybody. Okay, so this is a real stream. I felt kind of bad after how it ended last night, so I figured why not do an actual stream on something a bit more interesting? So, recently, an expansion for Dark Souls 1 has come out, or rather, from my understanding, it's kind of in between an expansion and a total conversion mod. Why is this not capturing properly? What the hell's going on? Oh, there we go. That would explain why that wasn't working. Yeah, so this is a expansion mod for Dark Souls 1 called Daughters of Ash. Actually, I should have called it was Daughters of Ash, not Maidens of Ash. Oh well, it is what it is. Nothing I can do, but I digress. So this was designed to be an expansion mod, obviously, but it was supposed to restore all the cut content from the original game to, restore all the content from the original game to add in a bunch of other stuff to make the lore deeper, etc. And I'm actually really excited. I cheated. I went ahead just to make sure everything was working okay. Prior to this, I took a look at the what was it called again? I went ahead and installed like DS Fix and all that kind of stuff. So let's see what it is. I already fired it up and it ran pretty well. Okay, let's see here. Let me just see if I can get this working properly. Okay. Just take a look at this. So yeah, so I'm going to do a playthrough of this. We'll see how far I get. I'm pretty good at the first Dark Souls game. It's a good question. How good I am? Hopefully I'll be good enough to get through it without having to use summons, because there are no summons since this is a mod. That being said, I do reserve the right to grind offline if I can. So we're going to focus on the lore, and I'm also going to be teaching you how to play Dark Souls. For those of you who haven't played it and want to get into it, it's going to be a bit of a challenge for me to figure out what the hell I'm doing again, because I've been playing Neo, and the controls in Neo are much, much, much more responsive than they are in this game. So that's going to be tricky. So that being said, let us begin. Let me just see if the sound's working, or did I mute the sound? Nope, it's working. This has got to be one of the best intros to a game ever. I love the intro to this game. So we'll talk all about this in some more depth once we get through this. Dark. The souls of lords within the flame. Once again, I reserve the right to grind off screen, which I probably will. I love the Silver Knights. I wish I could be a Silver Knight. I hope I don't get a copyright strike from this music. That's the problem, because... Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. If it's too loud, then let me know. It's too quiet. Let me know if that audio balance is any better.
Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
I had actually done a full LP of this. The issue is it got completely fucked when I was recording it. And when I reached the end of the game, I went back and I was looking at it and I'm like, oh, geez, this is I can't put this up. This is too bad, even by my terrible standards. So yeah, this is pretty different. Yeah, this is a DS1 expansion mod. They restored a whole bunch of content. It actually is fairly different. I just did the Undead Asylum, but it alone is pretty different. So we'll take a look at it. So let's start talking about the Dark Souls lore. I have DS Fix installed. If you ever want to play a Dark Souls game, or DS1, you have to have DS Fix installed. Otherwise, the game is completely unplayable and a complete piece of shit. Because it was not optimized for PC like at all. So it's unplayable under normal circumstances. So somebody made the DS fix, which like unlocks the frame rate, lets you change the resolution, lets you put on better anti-aliasing. So it actually doesn't look too bad for a game of its age. The higher frame rate means it controls a lot better than it did initially. The first time I played Dark Souls 1, I rage quit after like an hour, half an hour, because of how bad the frame rate was and how bad the controls are. But as you can see, it's actually running pretty well on my computer. So before we get into Dark Souls lore, I think the thing you have to keep in mind with Dark Souls is it's very much a myth game. I think the best way to think about it is it's very similar to a Greek myth. Gwen is very similar to Zeus, etc. So one of the things like to keep in mind about myths is that you can have a scenario in which multiple things can be true. You can have multiple backstories for things. You can have multiple origin stories, and that is acceptable. There's a number of stories on how Aphrodite was created, for instance. Was Aphrodite born from the testicles of Uranus? Was she a sister of Zeus? Etc. We don't like. There's a lot of different stories regarding it, and a lot of people just it's not particularly important which is the actual one, because you're trying to look at maybe something a bit deeper or beyond it. So I think I have to die in this version of the game. I normally when you get here, this door will open, but I think this time you have to die. So there we go. There's death number 1. And I know it will work if I go back through this again. Because I tested this before I came on. Yeah, so when we're going through this, if stuff ever like doesn't make sense or like other stuff seems to contradict other stuff, that is in part by design. Why is that door not opening? This game is bugged. This is bugged Souls mechanics. How the hell do I open this? Wow, I'm sucking already. I forget if there's... I don't think there's a switch here. This should just open. Maybe I have to, like, sneak around the Asylum Demon or something? Okay. Because I know how to do this, but maybe in this mod it's different. Because what you're supposed to do is you're just supposed to run over to the side thing, and the door should be open. Yeah, so it's closed now. So let me just break this. Okay. Come on, open. Oh, come on. I'm trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do here. Maybe I'm supposed to grab this, and that'll open the door? Oh, okay. So here's one of the things that they changed for this release of it. Normally you come back later and you'll fight the Stray Demon, but in this version you can fight the Stray Demon right away. The Stray Demon just shows up in the middle of it. So... yeah, so I guess one of the changes is you have to grab the shield first before it'll let you through that door. And the other change is you can fight the Stray Demon right away if you want to. Why you would try to fight the Stray Demon, I don't know. So I have a shield now at least, so that's good. Oh, why can't you hear anything in the game? Oh, okay, I probably have the volume off. Let me just turn the volume up. There we go. Thanks for letting me know. Okay. It's sometimes hard because things sound different on my end. So, yeah. Okay, so we got past that part. So like I said, it's kind of different. So there's a bonfire. And we will rest here. So as I said, yeah, that's something to just keep in mind. The lords, there's also a very blurry line between humans and lords. Kind of like in a lot of Greek myths and stuff, there's a very blurry line between humans and gods. Also between demons and gods in this, because demons in Dark Souls are not a product of the so here's another part that's different. Normally you would go here and there would be a sword, but in this game there's, I don't even know what that is. That looks like a dark wraith. And then that guy runs past you and I can go up here and get my sword. The first real weapon in the game. So let's see here. And I want longsword. Okay, so this is actually a pretty good sword. Let me just look at my shield. Is this a... okay, oh, it's only 90% physical damage reduction. Okay, well, better than nothing, I guess. Yeah, like, demons in Dark Souls are not a product of the dark, actually. They're a product of life. They come from limitless... the limitless light that's spawned by chaos. So they're fire, and I guess you could say living attribute. They're not dark. Dark is something completely different in the Souls games. Let me know if you can hear him okay or not. We'll get through all the lore. This is a very complicated game franchise, but don't worry, I'll get through explaining it all as we go.
But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There was an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. When thou ringest the bell of awakening, well now you know. Oh.
Okay.
Now I will.
Okay, turn it up a bit, sure. Okay, so we have Estus Flask now. So one of the kind of cool things about the Souls games is, as hard as they are, you don't really have to worry about, at least not in this game, collecting health power-ups. Your Estus Flasks will just automatically regenerate themselves whenever you sleep at you sit at a bonfire, which is kind of nice, and you can upgrade it. I'm going to show you how to get a couple upgrades really early on for your Estus Flasks. And you can carry up to 15 at a time, which is really nice. So, one of the biggest things about the Souls games is you have to learn how to cheese the game. You win at the Souls games by cheesing the fuck out of the game. Okay, good. I do have the master key. Oh, you can barely hear? Okay, sorry. Is it which is too quiet? Me or the game? Because I can turn the game up more if... Let me know if that's better. Okay. Let's see here. Oops. So, especially in Dark Souls 1, all the enemies have very, very simple AI. They'll only have a couple of moves that they do. And if you can, like, memorize those and exploit them, the game is really easy. Or not really easy, but that's how you win it. Because a lot of the enemies are stronger than you. So if you can figure that out, then you can kind of breeze through it. So, let's see. Let's go fight the Asylum Demon. So, let's see here. So this is the way you beat him super easy. You fall from the ceiling. So one of the things in the Souls games is it is acceptable to try to out DPS bosses. Like if you don't really want to like try and do it, take like a slow and cautious route, it's perfectly acceptable to just try to kill them before they kill you. Which is normally what I play. I normally play two-handed heavy weapons builds, so I tend to focus on just out DPSing bosses. And there we go, that's the first boss. So I have the big Pilgrim's Key, and I have enough souls to level twice. Oh, and I got a humanity, cool. I will use that humanity now. We'll be getting through all the lore, there's a lot of lore to cover. So as you can see, like, here's a new thing in this game, we have Winged Chaos mode. Mode of Crimson Fire taken from the heart of a demon of chaos. The corpulent flying demons were once Isolus' most accomplished pyromancers and emissaries. Their instincts for wayfaring and garish shows of force were not diluted by their transfiguration. Crush the flame to temporarily gain immense stamina, but be wary of bearing the infernal heat of chaos in such a frail body. That's interesting. Okay, I'll turn the sound up a bit more if people are having trouble hearing it. Yeah, this looks so much better now that I have DS Fix installed. Okay, so I can come back here later, but I'm just going to go to Lordran for now so I can level up. My recommendation in the Souls games is whenever you can level up, just immediately level up. Because then if you die, you don't have to worry about losing your souls. When people say you lose everything when you die in the Souls games, that's kind of a bit of a misnomer. You lose whatever souls you have on you, but you don't lose levels.
In the ancient legends, it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords.
Lordran.
Lordran.
Like I said, there's a ton of lore here. We'll get through all of it. This is a fairly long game. You can speedrun DS if you're really good. I'm not that good. I'm not bad at this game. One of the cool things about DS1 is how well the world is built. So like the world is so well built, you can normally see levels from other parts of levels. I'll point them out as we go, but you can generally see them. So we're gonna start off by kindling the bonfire. I'm gonna level. So a bit of a instruction for you guys who haven't maybe played this game before. So here are the stats that you can level up. The good stats I'll go through. Vitality is always good. If you're playing a difficult game, anything that gives you more health is always a good thing. Endurance increases how much you can carry and how much your stamina is. Both things are critical. They're both really good. Strength is really good. Strength determines how heavy a weapon you can hold. So I'm going to get my Zweihander in a minute. And you can only normally hold a Zweihander with two hands, but if you get your strength high enough, you can one-hand it. Dex is for weapons like katanas. Resistance is terrible, never up it. And intelligence, faith, and attunement are used if you're a caster. But I generally don't play as a caster, so... Actually, I shouldn't have used that humanity. Fuck. Oh well. Or, no, if I can get another humanity, then I can kindle this. Okay, let me see if I can get another humanity. Okay, so first thing I always do whenever I'm playing this game is I go get the Zweihander, which is my main weapon. Which will probably be my main weapon for the rest of the game. So that is available here. Oh, okay, it's different. I don't remember him being here in the vanilla.
Hello there. I believe we are not... I am Petrus of Farallon. If not,
That's interesting. Okay, so that's something they've changed right there. Hopefully, they haven't removed the Zweihander. So it's funny because this is actually a later game area that you can happen to go to really early on. So it's kind of a beginner's trap because a lot of people come here not thinking it's going to be that difficult. And then they get their asses kicked. Okay, Soul of a Lost Cleric. Okay, uh-oh. Shit. Yeah, I can't fight these guys at this point in time. I don't have a weapon that's good against them, and they're just above my level, so. Okay, Soul of an Old Soldier. By the way, Bone Rest? What the heck is Bone Rest? I've never heard of Bone Rest before. I guess that's something they added in? I have no idea what that is. Odysee Ember. I don't remember that either. Interesting. Yeah, so I can tell it's fairly different already. This one's probably harder, or at least it'll be harder for me just because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Because part of this game is like memorizing what you're supposed to do. So let me see here. Where's the Zweihander? Let me just go back and get my corpse. Uh-oh. Camera's really not working well today. Okay, let's see here. Parrying Dagger, which is not useful to me. Homeward Bone, which is kind of useful, but not really what I wanted. I feel like they might have just taken it out of this area. If they did, then that sucks, because that's the main weapon I use. Yeah, I think they just took it out. Yep, they got rid of it. So, there we go. I'm just not going to bother going back for the humanity. Okay, so, obviously this game is fairly different than the original, which is good, because that'll make this a more interesting playthrough. And it probably means I'm going to die a lot more than I normally would, because there's certain things you try to do. So because there's no real... because at the moment I'm hollowed and I don't have any... I'm hollowed and I don't have any souls. So if I die at the moment, there's absolutely no consequences for me. So something you can do in Dark Souls is, because you don't lose items, you can do what I call a death run. Where you just run through the game. If you want to grab a treasure chest or something, just grab it. And then let the enemies kill you, and it doesn't really matter because you respawn anyways. Okay, so here's the game's first waifu. A firekeeper, and she can't speak because all firekeepers are deformed in some way. So this is something you can do early on that I've found. I'm not like an expert at this game, I've just played it a lot and I like it, so let's see here. Because I have the master key, I can open this. So down here is New Londo, and New Londo is an endgame area. But if I just run in here, I can grab a couple things that'll be very helpful later in the game. Let's see here. So there is a Firekeeper's soul here. Dead City of New Londo. Okay, interesting. They have actually changed all this like dialogue and stuff. So there's a Firekeeper soul here. So Firekeeper souls upgrade your Estus flask. Specifically, they upgrade how much your Estus flask heals. And since it's your sole way of healing in this game, anything that makes you heal more is good. I mean, that's not entirely true. There's also Divine Blessings, but they're very rare. I feel like this looks a bit different than it did initially. I don't recall there being the side scaffolding. I don't see any ghosts attacking me yet, because there should be a whole bunch of ghosts that are ganking me at this point. Interesting, Lautrec is here now. That is not something I was expecting. I guess they moved him here for some reason. Okay, this is going to be very different than how I thought it was. But that's good. That makes it entertaining. Because it's going to be me trying to figure this out. Let's see if there's anything here. Oops. Fuck. Okay, that was entirely me goofing up. That was just my bad. That was 100% my bad. That was just me not paying attention. I'm not going to blame the game for it. Although the controls are super clunky in this game. It's going to take some adjustments. I've been playing Neo, and Neo has like some of the most responsive controls I've ever seen in an action game. So yeah, you can heal with humanities, but I'd like to not use humanities as much as possible. Yeah. The controls in this game are pretty bad. It's very clunky. Like, look at how like you roll and stuff compared to Neo or even like Dark Souls 2 or 3. It's very it's not very polished, but this game had a very small budget. At least it looks like it had a small budget. I don't think FromSoft was expecting it to become as big a sensation as it did, but whatever. Okay, so I don't know, where should I even start with the lore for this? Maybe after I'm done, I'll reset the frame rate to just 30, because this is flickering a bit. It's not terrible, but it is making it a little harder to look at. I'm just seeing if there's any other endgame items here I can maybe grab. So normally when you come to New Londo, there's a whole bunch of ghosts that immediately attack you, that you can't attack back. So, let's see here. What is your opinion of Vitae Vidya? Vitae Vidya I kind of have mixed feelings about. Some of his theories are good, some of his theories, in my opinion, are kind of bad. I'm a lot more sympathetic towards the gods than he is. He really hates the gods for whatever reason. So it's interesting. I don't know, is this like an early game area? I haven't actually come across any real enemies yet. This is very odd. Very strange. I might not even go to Blighttown and just do this normally, because, like I said, it looks very... It's probably not going to let me cheese the game like I normally do. Okay, so New Londo. New Londo is one of my favorite levels in the game. It looks really cool. This is really creepy. Like, there's nothing here. It's literally just a bunch of, like, corpses. Okay, I'm just gonna stop cheesing the game and just go along. In my defense, the collision detection in this game is not very good. We'll see if I actually die in this game, like, at all, from, like, me legitimately losing in combat, or how much of it is me just trying to do shitty platforming or things like that. Let me see if anything's up here. Transient curse. Okay, that's cool. There's probably nothing up here because this is a shortcut later in the game. No, nothing up here yet, so I'll just go back down. Okay, let me see, is there anything there? No. Okay. One of the worst things about this game is how jumping works. Because you have to hold B down to run and then tap it, and you do this, like, horrible jump roll. And it's completely atrocious. Yeah, the frame rate in this is kind of making me sick. Oh, I'll change it after we're done. Oops. Oh, I guess there's a guy behind me. Oops. Estus flasks seem to restore a lot less health than they do in the other games, just from looking at it at the moment. Okay, let me see. I'll kill him. See, I'm not completely retarded at this game. I'm just getting back into the swing of things. Okay, let's see here. I'm not going to even try for that at the moment, so let's go to the Undead Burg. So one of the most important things to keep in mind about Dark Souls is shields, at least decent shields, will block 100% of physical damage. It doesn't matter if it's a boss in most cases. It doesn't matter what level the enemy is. Your shield will block 100% of physical damage. So if you don't really know what you're doing, there's nothing wrong with just using a shield and turtling behind it. Rats actually have humanity in them. I've never been able to figure out parrying, to be honest. I know it's an embarrassment. I've just never really gotten it down. I prefer to just block. Okay, so I'll just bait this guy, and then... One of the things in this game is you have to learn to just kill enemies one by one. Okay. Okay, I'm not sucking at this game. I'm doing okay. Now that, like, I'm actually playing the game instead of doing, like, trying to cheese it. Oh, okay, there's a Boulder Knight there. If I can kill him, he might drop something really good. Holy shit, Boulder Knights have a lot of health. I guess it is very early in the game. I don't have upgraded weapons yet. Backstab. There we go. Let me see, is there a chest or anything in here? Or is it just for souls? I don't think there's anything here, but once again, this game is completely different now. Like, there wasn't a Boulder Knight there before, so... once I get to the next bonfire, maybe I'll start talking about DS lore, because DS lore is, like, really complicated and interesting. And there's a dragon, because dragons make everything better. Okay, so let me just bait this guy. There we go. Oh, okay, so there's somebody in that door now. That's interesting. Enemies are way shittier in this game than they are in the sequels. What? They removed the bonfire? What the hell? Where the hell's the bonfire then? Fuck, I don't want to fight him if there's no bonfire. Fuck. Where the hell am I supposed to go then? If I want to save or level. Maybe I'll try over here. I'll just get out of his range. Just Boulder Knights are a little stronger than what I want to fight with my limited resources at the moment. Fuck! Okay, part of this is just me sucking, but to be fair, the collision detection in this game is fucking awful. And the hitboxes are also shit in this game. Those are kind of like two of my big issues. Okay, let's see here. Why? Like, look how much they reduced Estus Flasks by. Estus Flasks do like almost nothing now. Oops. Trying to figure out where the hell I'm supposed to go to save. Fuck! What the hell? Holy shit. Okay. Now, I admit I did suck there, but once again, I don't really know what to expect. Doing this game, because this is very different. Okay. This is going to be embarrassing, isn't it? Okay, at least I know what I'm doing. Well, sort of now. Okay. Oops. Fuck. Okay, just calm down. Calm down. Don't get angry at the game. Just focus on this. You have this. You know how to play this game. There we go. Oh. Hollow Warrior armor. Great. You have to be careful because rats can give you toxic, which at this point in the game you don't really have any solution for. Oh. Okay. I don't think I'm doing as bad as Phil did the first time he played this game. I need to get a shield that blocks 100%. Anyway, so let's start talking about Dark Souls lore while I continue to to fail at this game. So basically, when the world was young, or so we know, the world was existed in a state of gray. There was neither life nor death. There was just the everlasting dragons. Now, in the context of the Souls universe, I've always seen the dragons as being what happens when you achieve nirvana. That is when the cycle of death and rebirth ends, and you just are able to exist eternally in a state of happiness and peace. So prior to the gods coming into play, the world was basically in a permanent static state. There was just a huge ocean, like an endless stretch of water, which is very common in a lot of creation myths, particularly within Hindu ones, that the world is... the world was, before there was like land or anything, that the original state of nature was just a big puddle of water, or a big infinite sea. So there's that. There's these giant trees that are like kilometers tall, and there's the dragons. And the dragons are invincible. They just kind of chill. They just kind of hang out and live forever. The dragons only live forever so long as they have their scales, though. I'm not sure what the difference is between everlasting and immortal, because I think they live so long as they keep their scales, but they can be killed. Particularly lightning blows their scales off. However, they don't die of old age or sickness so long as they have their scales. But so there was that. So then there was people who live below the ground. So there's at least two races that live below the ground. There's lords and humans. Now, lords we'll see later on. Lords are the race that the gods are. I mean, I don't think there's an official term for them. I just call them lords. And lords are basically human-like, but they live a lot longer, and they're like 7 or 8 feet tall. So when you see the Silver Knights and the Black Knights, they're much, much taller than humans. They're much larger. When we get to Anar Londo, there's 2 steps of stairs, one for lords and one for humans. The gods themselves are lords who have gotten a piece of the one of the great souls, or are related to one of the existing gods. So they dwelt underneath the earth. And when they were underneath the earth, they found the soul. I forget what it's called, the primordial soul, if it has a name in particular. But the primordial soul was composed of 4 pieces: light, dark, death, and life. With some of them being opposed to each other. So it's a... Fuck, see what I mean about collision detection? I should have been able to roll past him. With the... dark and light are opposed, and death and life are opposed, but light and death are not opposed, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of different than a lot of other lores in that respect. So, what was I saying? Right. So the lords discovered the primordial souls, and they broke it into 4 parts: the life soul, the dark soul, the light soul, and the death soul. So Nito took the death soul into himself. The Witch of Izalith took the life soul into herself, and Gwyn took the light soul into himself and became the god of sunlight. The Witch of Izalith is the god of life and chaos, and Nito's the lord of death. The dark soul was taken by the pygmy. The pygmy is the ancestor of humanity, and he took the dark soul into himself, which is why this game is called Dark Souls. So it's implied that the dark soul exists within all of humanity. So the question is, what is the difference between the great souls, the souls that I'm collecting, etc.? It's kind of confusing. Humanity, it's confirmed, is pieces of the dark soul. Manus, the first human, Where you find him is in the Abyss, and the Abyss is surrounded by pieces of the Dark Soul. Actually, if you look at humanity, humanity looks a bit like a person. So they're pieces of the Dark Soul. And all humans have it within them. Humans are allied with the dark, and the gods are actually very afraid of humans because humans have the power of the dark within them, which is the opposite of the gods, who are of kind of a divine origin. In particular, Gwen's afraid of them. So as soon as the lords... Silver Knights aren't lords, they're giants. List here. DS1 giants have all the same things. Gwen, to do with Gwen. Okay, the thing to keep in mind is I ignore part of the official lore, and I've just kind of come up with parts of it and parts of what I think makes sense. Because there's a lot of just really dumb shit within the official lore, or stuff that's not well established. So I'm just trying to come up with a parsimonious explanation. Oops. Okay, so as soon as the lords found the souls, they launched a campaign against the dragons to take control of the surface. So they are aided in this by Seath the Scaleless, who is a dragon born without scales, and therefore was not immortal. Actually, it's interesting because Seath is also blind. Whatever the affliction is that made him scaleless apparently also rendered him blind. So Seath the Scaleless revealed to Gwyn that the secret to killing dragons is lightning. So Gwyn is very similar to Zeus, so he threw lightning bolts which blew off the scales of the everlasting dragons. And after their scales were torn off, the Witch of Islith burned their trees down, and what's her name? What's his name? Nito was able to burn off their was able to wreak havoc on their diseased bodies. I'm just gonna go back and level, just because I don't know when I'm gonna find a bonfire in here. So they were able to defeat the dragons. The dragons were largely exterminated in that war, and the gods started the Age of Fire. Now the Age of Fire is what we're in at the moment, or rather we're at the end of the Age of Fire. And it's kind of like, once again, in mythology, you have the Golden Age. Like, there's always there's like the Primordial Age, there's the Golden Age of like heroes and stuff, then there's like the Age of Mortals or whatever. You have this in Lord of the Rings, you have this in Greek and Hindu. Like in Hindu you have like Kali Yuga and stuff. Zoroastrianism has something similar. It's something that's almost universal throughout different cultures, this idea of the Golden Era. And that's kind of what the Age of Fire is in the Souls games. It's the age of the gods, when the gods dwell among humanity. So the gods were able to very quickly co-opt humanity, who began to worship them. And the gods used their power and their control over mankind to build the immense city of Londo, which is pretty much the midway point of this game. And it's basically like Mount Olympus or any other kind of city on a mountain that is dwelt with by the gods. So the issue is, and this is kind of this is kind of where things get confusing, is the okay, so just to reference something Davey says, Silver Knights are tall, but not Lord Artorias. The thing you have to understand in this game is height is just random. Like, the creator, I think, has even said height is just tied to someone's power. It's not something you should take seriously. Because, like, people, like, some humans are really big, some lords are not that big. Some lords are like Guinevere and they're giant. Like, Guinevere's so big, her boobs are the size of a normal lord. Etc. So it just varies very wildly. Anyways, so the first flame, which is what the souls, the various souls came from, started to weaken over time. And so long as the first flame burned, the world was prosperous. Life itself. Yes, Davey. I I understand that, like, the height thing is inconsistent. Like, Vendrick is gigantic, Nishandra is gigantic, despite the fact that they're just humans. Well, Nishandra's a piece of Manus, but you get what my point is. So it's not consistent at all. But generally speaking, lords are much bigger. Also, I go with lifespan because Silver Knights are like hundreds, if not thousands, of years old at this point. So that's kind of another hint to me. I don't know if lords can die of old age, but yeah. So anyways, so the first flame is kind of the flame of creation. That's kind of another thing you have in a lot of different religions. Probably the closest thing is the Aztecs believed that Huitzilopochtli required sacrifices or he wouldn't come up every morning. That is, if there wasn't a certain amount of blood given, that the sun would just stop coming up and the world would be destroyed. And so they had to keep feeding him blood to get him to keep coming up. That's probably the closest IRL kind of equivalent to fire in this. So, what was I talking about again? Sorry, I just periodically lose my train of thought because this game is fairly difficult. Yeah, so when the first flame started to run down, so there's a lot of theories as to why it ran down. One theory is that the Dark Soul was the fuel of the first flame. My thinking is that the first flame was originally completeness, because everything was contained within it, light, dark, life, death. And when they removed the various parts of it, it became unstable, and the world kind of started to collapse because it destroyed the balance, is kind of my theory. And in kind of my initial theory, and we'll get to this later, is that the purpose of the Lord Vessel was to get all the different souls back and restore the first flame. Because it's said later on that dragons are outside of the cycle. And I think that's because they are... they are light and dark fused together into gray. So... yeah, so when the first flame started to wane, the gods became less powerful. Light began to vanish from the world. Crops withered and died. Plagues broke out. The world just kind of began to fall apart and collapse into anarchy. So the gods were desperate to try to figure out a way to keep things going. They didn't want their power to end, and they didn't want their civilization to collapse. Now, Vadi tends to view this as being a very selfish thing. He views it as the gods were power-hungry lunatics who just wanted to preserve their own existence, and that's why they feared the waning of the first flame. To me, I'm someone who likes civilization, so I think it's understandable why they would want to keep it going, because they had built this huge, like, impressive cities, advanced culture, etc., and I think it's understandable that they wanted to keep that going. Otherwise, the world would fall into darkness. So what emerged is it was discovered that if you were to feed humanity to the first flame, it would keep it burning. So all the bonfires you see in this game are linked to the first flame. They are directly linked to the first flame, and whenever somebody collects, rests there and offers humanity, that goes into feeding the first flame. So what happened during this process is the Undead Curse emerged. Now, the Undead Curse, I don't know, there's various thoughts on it, whether it was something that gods created or whether it was a natural effect on the first flames fading. I'm sorry, on what the whether it was that or it was a specific curse that Gwyn or one of the gods cast. But basically, humans are unable to die anytime they die, they just come back to life. But every time they come back to life, more and more of them is missing. It's very much like Beric Dondarrion in A Song of Ice and Fire, how every time he gets revived, he's not quite the same. The only way to get out of it is by using humanity and offering it to the fire. You're able to restore some of your sanity and restore some of your crippling body. So it gives an advantage of... So it leads the various humans who are left to kill one another, desperately trying to get humanity so that they can become sane for a short period of time. And that's kind of... And the people I'm fighting now are humans who have died so many times, they've lost their rational minds, and they've just become crazed beings that attack everything within sight. So, that's the Undead Curse, and for a while that kind of helped, but eventually it wasn't enough to feed the fire properly. It wasn't enough to completely keep the first flame going. So Gwen was so scared of what would happen once the flame went out that he sacrificed himself. He gave parts of his light soul to different people, but he threw himself onto the first flame in order that his light soul would be the fuel for it. And he allowed his daughter Guinevere to inherit the throne and become the Queen of Sunlight. Archon and Plexus were essentially putting the undead out of their misery. No, because they can't die. They just get revived again. That's why when you stay at a bonfire, they just come back to life, because no one can die. It's kind of like we're all in purgatory or something. So when you kill people, you just make them go more insane and they immediately come back to life. There's got to be a bonfire somewhere in this level. I think I've been doing pretty good on this run. I've just been trying to be calm and focused. Oh, there's a bonfire, but how the hell do I get there? Now, if I remember... Oh, they took it out. Okay. Normally there's someone there with a barrel who gets the drop on you. Okay. So I think Havel's down here. I don't know if I want to fight Havel, because I don't know how they changed this game, so I don't know if Havel's still there or not. I kind of feel like there should be some way to get over there. It said I needed a key of some description. Let me see if the Black Knight's down here. I can beat the Black Knight, I just don't really want to fight it unless I have a safe spot nearby. Because Black Knights aren't super hard, but I'd rather not risk it if I don't have to. What's interesting is what emerges in the third game is we find the Sable Church of Londo. So the Sable Church of Londo rejects the rule of the gods, but the church also has a method of salvation. So if you receive the blessing from the Church of Londo, you become hollow, but you also become you can permanently keep your mind. Your mind doesn't deteriorate anymore, even if your body does, and you can restore your body through other means. So it basically makes you perfectly immortal with very few consequences. Okay. Where the hell is the key? There's got to be one around here somewhere. Okay, I want to take a poll. Who else here wants to see a buddy cop film with Guts and Goblin Slayer. If you want to see a buddy cop film with Guts and Goblin Slayer, press 1. Because I think that would be like the greatest thing of all time. It has to happen. Oh, wait a minute. I see. Okay, there's an area I actually forgot to go to. Okay, let me just go down. Let's see. I need to go in here. Okay, there's a Boulder Knight in there. Oops. I should have seen that one coming. Okay, Soul of a Lost Cleric. Okay, so I want to ask everybody the other most important question of all time. Yeah, but I can't access the bonfire. I don't see any way to, like, get to it. Okay, so the immortal question, who does everyone ship Goblin Slayer with? That's what I want to know. I ship him with High Elf Archer, actually. Because I feel like she's the only one who can really, like, understand him, because she's also an adventurer. I feel like all the other girls just don't have a frame of reference. I also feel like Guild Girl would just enable him in his nonsense. And, like, High Elf Archer would be the one who would kind of, like, kick his ass if it needed to be kicked. Because of his insanity. Fuck. Okay. Come on. Come on. You can attack me. There you go. See? Free Fuck. There we go. Oh, okay, I have better armor now. Okay. Let me see, does that reduce me to... What weight do I have now? Okay, nope, I'm still at half encumbrance. Good. Goblin Slayer is kind of a harem anime, but Goblin Slayer is so autistic that he just doesn't, like, care. Because if it's not about slaying goblins, he doesn't give a crap. I need to get in there, and I don't know where the key is. Where the fuck is the key? This game is bugged and unfair. Let's see here, what does this say? Praise the sun. I don't have Praise the Sun yet. Which door? Someone keeps yelling door, but, like... No, it doesn't work. I've tried. The master key doesn't work on that door. Like... I have the master key in my inventory. I go over here. It's locked. There's no way to open it. So... And the other door won't open either. So I guess I'm going to go on and hope I come across a bonfire before I get to the Taurus Demon. If the Taurus Demon's even still there. Because apparently they added bosses in this game, so that's interesting. Yeah, the Undead Merchant's gone, though, so... No, it looks like I'm gonna have to go fight the Taurus Demon. Fuck. I mean, the Taurus Demon is really easy, but... Okay, so the Taurus Demon is super easy. What you have to do is you have to come up here and then drop down and do a drop down attack on him. Fuck! Fuck. Bad camera angles. Get out of the way so I can Estus Flask. Okay. Okay, there we go. Heart's beating like crazy. I can't lose the Taurus Demon. He's like the easiest boss in the game. What the fuck? I feel like this is harder than I remember it being. Like he's doing more damage or he's taking less damage. There we go. Now where do I use... Is the watchtower... Let me see if the watchtower is back there. That doesn't look like a watchtower. There's got to be a save point somewhere in this fucking game. I don't know. I feel like the Taurus Demon had more health than than he does in like the base version of the game. Because normally I can kill him in 2 stab attacks, but that took like okay, nope. That didn't work. And I really want to save because I have a whole bunch of souls that I need to spend. I can level probably like 4 or 5 times now. There better not be some fucking troll here where there's like an enemy who's gonna jump out and kill me. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Oh fuck. That was close. I almost died there. Hey, it's everybody's favorite character. Hey, Solaire.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Solaire of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Gwyn, to seek my very own son. You find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
What a great guy. I love Solaire. I'm so mad they didn't bring Solaire back in any of the other games. They really should have.
Oh, I have a proposition. The way I see it, up in a land brimming with... So what do you say? Displeased? We are the flow of time. The very fabric wavers, and there's no telling how much longer your world but use it to summon one another as spirits. And engage. Of course, we are not the only ones.
Engage in
but I
jolly
am a warrior
cooperation.
of the sun. Spot my summon signature easy. If you miss it, you must be blind. Oh, hello there. I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father.
Holy shit! What the fuck? They dramatically extended the fucking range of that. Fuck, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. There's no bonfire. I'm out of life. I have a whole bunch of souls, so I don't have any Estus flasks left. I guess I'm just gonna have to manually go back. I don't even have a homeward bone at this point. So I don't know. I don't know if this is like a troll or like what they're trying to do with this, but yeah, I'm just gonna have to run back. I don't know how the fuck do I get to that one. I've done like everything in this level. I've gone like through every like pathway. I've searched everything. Door does not open. There's nothing there. I can't go that way. I tried the other way down there, and that didn't work. No, I don't have a homeward bone. I just don't. Shit, no, don't. What the fuck? Why did they respawn? How did they respawn? I killed them! What the fuck? But enemies... Okay, so I guess enemies respawn now, even if you don't sit at a bonfire. That is fucking weird. Wow. Okay, then. At least I can level now. Okay, let's see. I'll take endurance, strength. I'll take another vitality and another strength. Go. Oh, well, I got the level like 6 times, so... Oh, great demonic strength. We have a copper coin. Soul of a Lost Cleric. Interesting. Used to restore HP. Soul of an Old Soldier. Temporarily boosts strength. Okay, so this should be substantially easier now that I have more health and more attack power. So I should probably... Oops. Okay. Just calm down. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. Okay. So I can kill these guys with one strong attack now, so that should make this a little easier. Sorry, I don't even want to say that out loud in case somebody's watching this video later. People are just talking about some disgusting shit DSP did and didn't clean himself up after. So I'm not going to bother to fight anybody this time because there's not really a point. I'm just going to run through this and try to get back to the tower at the end of this area. Running past enemies is a legitimate strategy in the Souls games. It actually works really well. Provided you kind of know it. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's what that key is for there. Let's see. No, it's locked. It's still locked. Of course it is. Why would I think that would have opened the door? Okay. Fuck. I also feel like they made Estus flasks slower in this. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I feel like they made it a fraction. Fuck! I feel like they made it a fraction of a second slower than it was in the vanilla game. Okay, so it looks like I'm not going to be able to do that. I feel like there's a lot more enemies than there normally is there. Alright, I'm trying not to rage, guys. I'm trying not to rage. For those of you who have played this game, you guys acknowledge that this is harder than vanilla, right? And that this isn't just me being retarded. Does anyone else miss Panda Lee? I kind of like Panda Lee, TBH. I didn't think she was as bad as everyone else did. I mean, she was obnoxious, but I don't know. She was just kind of immature. Cat kind of looks like a tranny, TBH. Okay, deep breaths. Okay, there we go. Have to stay calm. Have to not get upset. Have to not get frustrated. When you get upset and frustrated, you die in this game. You die like crazy. Curses. Okay, so it looks like I'm just gonna have to fight people here. It would be nice if I could just go past them, but the game won't let me, so... No, I've never played Cuphead. Cuphead looks way too hard. The funny thing about Cuphead, though, is DSP was actually really good at Cuphead. Like, he beat Cuphead pretty much faster than I would have expected. The one good thing about there being more enemies is it means I'm going to level faster. But... Fuck. I might as well go see if Havel's down here. I'm not strong enough to fight. Even if I cheese Havel, I really don't want to fight him yet, just because it takes so many hits to kill him. Because he has so much hit points in defense. So let me see if Havel's still here. Okay, he would be at the bottom level. No! Havel is not here anymore. Instead, the Undead Merchant's here.
They did my training.
Right, does he have bottomless box? Throwing knives, repair powder, orange soapstone, arrows. Oh, okay, so he has some weapons at least. Let's see, short sword, dagger, rapier, axe, club, pickaxe. I think, isn't pickaxe a new weapon? I can't remember pickaxe being in the original. Maybe I'll get a spear and a pickaxe. I kind of want to try that out. Pickaxe, maybe I'm just not remembering because I never used it, but yeah. And I might as well get a bottomless box while I'm here. Or did I buy a bottomless box? There we go.
Thank you, Candy.
Okay, Watchtower Tea. Maybe this is where I'm supposed to go next then. Okay. Dragon's Ravine, the Old Wilderness. Okay. Let's see, what's the pickaxe like? Okay, maybe I'll try this. This looks like a high damage. Oh no, are there stone guardians here? Fuck! Not stone guardians! Anything but stone guardians. I'm way too low level to fight those guys. Okay. Let's go back up. Maybe that's where I'm supposed to go next. The City of the Undead. Okay. Yeah, Phil actually beat it. My issue is the second time he beat it, he used summons, and people told him what to do. And I don't really think that matters. I think if you get to the end screen of Dark Souls, it's legitimate. Because, like, you're supposed to cheese the game. Like, cheesing the game is how you're supposed to win Dark Souls. That's the whole point. And summons are in the game, and it was put in the game by the developers. So if you want to use summons, there's nothing wrong with using summons. It's just part of the game. So it irritates me when people did that. People also gave him crap because he got really lucky and he got the Black Knight Halberd when he fought the first Black Knight he came across. And he used it for the rest of the game. And people told him that he was cheating by using the Black Knight Halberd. Okay, so I cannot go there. I can't go there yet. So that leaves New Londo or going and trying to fight the Guardians. I really don't want to fight the Guardians. But I'm guessing if the Taurus Demon gave me the Watchtower key, that's a hint that's the next area I have to go to. Like, I don't get, like, because people gave Phil shit for using a guide to play Dark Souls. You need to use a fucking guide. Like, I don't know how anyone would be able to figure out the bullshit with Artorias. There isn't new assets. They used cut content, though. So they added, there's apparently additional bosses. And some other stuff that were going to be in the original version, but they removed. I can't accept that I can't open that door. I can't accept it. It's just... Oh. But, yeah, so no, people were saying... Okay, so, like, to fight the 4 kings of New Londo, you need to jump into the Abyss. To jump into the Abyss, you need a ring called the Covenant of Artorias. To get the Covenant of Artorias, you have to kill Sif. To kill Sif, you have to buy an expensive key and go to, like, a seemingly optional area of the game, and then kill the boss, and you get the ring, and the ring lets you walk in the Abyss. And, like, you're supposed to know that. And people were, like, saying Phil was cheating by looking it up. Like, a lot of this shit is just not very obvious, to be honest. Okay, there's the Hydra. Fuck. One hit? One fucking hit? I don't know where the hell I'm supposed to go. Like, or what I'm supposed to do. I guess maybe I'm supposed to go to New Londo? Because there wasn't, like, any, like, strong enemies there. So I'm going to try going to New Londo again. Maybe I'll try going to Blighttown and seeing how that works out. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. I feel like that area is too high level for me. Guardians are fairly, like, Guardian armors are fairly tough enemies. Oops. I don't really want to fight them at this point in the game. Okay. Let me see if my master key lets me get into Blighttown. Nope, they gimped the... Okay, so I can't use the master key anymore because they took that out of the game. Alright. Like, there's just a lot of cryptic shit in these games that without a guide would be really hard to figure out. Like where the fuck you're supposed to go. Because, like, oftentimes in these games, you can go to, like, a high-level endgame area, and it's, like, it's easier to go there than it is to go to, like, a medium place. I don't know. So let's see if I can get anywhere in New Londo. Secret Agent says on his first playthrough he got stuck in the Tomb of the Giants without the Lord Vessel. Yeah, I think that's probably fairly common because the Catacombs is very early in the game, and in some ways it's a more logical place to go than the Undead Burg. Because I know the first time I played, I kept going there and the skeletons kept kicking my ass. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this game? Why was I just going to the wrong place? Because there's no real, like, easy way to tell where you're supposed to go. Yeah, I kind of feel like I'm supposed to go to this area just because there's no enemies here, really. Let me see, did these guys give me any souls? No, not worth killing. Negligible amount. That guy's kind of creepy, the guy who's lying there. Oh, okay, that was a shortcut. Cool. Okay. Let's see. Just don't fall. Don't fall. Don't fall. Okay, this better be something good. A club? Fuck. This game is trolling me. Gotta love the platforming in the game where the collision detection's this bad. I actually didn't find Scholar of the First Sin that much more difficult than DS2 Standard. To be honest, I didn't think it was that much harder. I'd say this is the least difficult of them. This mod is hard. Like, this mod is legitimately much harder than the base game. In part just because I don't know what to expect, because I've kind of memorized it. In part just because it's just more difficult, the way they have enemy placement and stuff. Okay, poison knife, throwing knife. This is quickly becoming a where the fuck do I go game. Okay. Miracle Force. I don't use miracles, so that's not very helpful to me. Okay. Moss clumps. Okay, there's nothing up there. I thought Ingward was up there. Maybe Ingward isn't up there in this version. I'm trying to remember how I drain the water. I think Ingward drains the water, doesn't he? Locked by the magic of the sealers. Okay. So I need them to unseal it. Key to the valley. Interesting. Okay, so I at least got an item. At least I found something here. So that's good. I'm assuming the key to the valley is the... What would the key to the valley... Where would the valley be? Would that be... The Valley of the Drakes, I think it's called? Yeah, so here's what I mean by kind of cool level design. Like, you can see the whole rest of the area from up here. So the whole area, like, flows into each other, into different parts very well. I think it would take more time, so I'm just going to kill myself and respawn. So I think that's faster. I didn't even know you could mod Dark Souls. Because, I mean, the issue if it's... I didn't know you could unmod it because it's an online-only game. You know what I mean? Like, I would have thought it would have been impossible, but I guess not. Like that the servers would ban you for, cheating or something. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay, so maybe talk about some interesting theories. So, I don't know if anyone's heard the theory about what the Nameless King's name is. Because the Nameless King is the... I guess you could call him like the final boss of Dark Souls 3. He's an optional boss in an endgame area. And he is Gwyn's firstborn, who inherited the sunlight, but... the lightning, but in the end sacrificed everything to side with the everlasting dragons. Yep, there we go. Dragon's Vervine, the old wilderness. So, what I've heard is that his name is Sen. Because he's a war god. He's a dragon-slaying god of war. And that Sen's fortress was his seat. Was a castle from where he would guard New Londo. And it was also a armory for the gods. And also, it makes sense. Sen sounds a bit like Gwen. Yeah? It makes sense to me. There is a dragon zombie. There's a longbow. Let me see if there's anything over there. There's the other entrance to New Londo. Oh, okay, so there is a way all the way over there if I wanted to go there. And that would take me back to the forest. I don't know if that's where I want to go, though. So I'm going to try to go to Blighttown, maybe. And one hit kill. Well, I think that's enough humiliation for one day. If people want me to continue this, let me know. If people don't want me to continue this, then we will not. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys.